Welcome to 700 Club Israel, an historic week that could redraw the map of the Middle East. World leaders are gathering at the United Nations in New York. At the forefront, a resolution sponsored by France and Saudi Arabia to advance a two-state solution. It has wide support across the General Assembly, including Australia, Canada, and the United Kingdom. They've all backed the call for a Palestinian state. Well, joining us for more on this unfolding situation is Israeli diplomat, Ambassador Danny Ayalon, and he joins us now via Zoom. And Ambassador, it's always a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you. Always my pleasure, Gordon. Thank you very much, and shalom to you and all the viewers.
I assume that this is dead on arrival in Israel, that they could never agree to the recognition of a Palestinian state under the current terms.
Oh, absolutely, Gordon. Not only this is on the cradle of our civilization, where Shiloh, Jerusalem, Bethel are, so we will never, a body cannot live without its heart. And certainly this is the heart of our homeland and the heart of our spirits. This is what kept us in exile for 2,000 years, just as the prophets have said, that we will return from all four corners of the earth, and we have returned, not to give it away. So this is something which, as you mentioned, it's dead on arrival. On top of that, I think if we bring it to modern time, the recognition is a folly by international law, because the UN itself prescribes that a state or an entity will not be recognized as a state unless and until they have an authority, effective authority, which can govern the territory, which has a definite territory, and none of this exists. So this is really the wrong move, and certainly it will not bring us further to peace, but quite the opposite.
Well, the anticipation, even the prediction is, regardless of these UN rules, that there could be a Palestinian state with no defined geography and no defined government, actually sit and be a member state of the UN. Is that a real possibility now?
Not really. You see, who governs the Palestinians? Is it Hamas in Gaza? Is it Abu Mazen, the Palestinian Authority in Judea and Samaria? They have not sorted it out themselves. On top of that, we know that they still teach. Hamas, we know, they are sworn on actually our demise, for that matter, all Judeo-Christian heritage they would like to do away with.
Well, let's just do a sort of a review of the history, because I think it's useful that there was an opportunity for a Palestinian state under the British mandate. Then in 1948, that was part of the UN resolution. Then after the Six-Day War in 1967, in the famous phrase, the Arabs have never missed an opportunity to miss an opportunity. So they've been given this, and then recently, former President Bill Clinton has come out and said, I offered Yasser Arafat everything he asked for, and I still couldn't achieve peace because he couldn't come to peace with Israel. It was from his standpoint, there could never be a recognition or a peaceful coexistence between a Palestinian state and Israel. So is the UN just ignoring that history?
The UN not only is ignoring the history, they're trying to rewrite history. You know, on other resolutions of the UN, they have not recognized Jerusalem and the Holy Temple site, that this is Jewish or Christian and Jewish. They call it only Islamic. And this was endorsed by few supposedly Christian countries like France or Spain. Many European countries, I think they are just shunning God, and we see that. So it is a shame But this is the fact. Now, on top of that, you're right. And Clinton, who was there, he was courageous and truthful enough to say what happened. And he offered everything to Arafat, who rejected it. By the way, Clinton also said that when he told Arafat that his Bible says that Jerusalem has always been Jewish, that the kings and the prophets of Israel, that Jesus Christ was walking in Jerusalem, Arafat said, no, it was Muslim all along. And then Clinton retorted, when my Lord Jesus Christ was walking the streets of Jerusalem, there were no minarets, no mosques, only the holy Jewish temple.
Well, Clinton was absolutely right. I'll also point out the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is apparently their third most holiest site, used to be, archaeology says it used to be a Byzantine church. So they seem to ignore the history and the archaeology. Let's talk about Hamas and the I guess the now over prospect of peace with them. I was kind of surprised that Secretary Rubio, the American Secretary of State, seemed to this week want to blame Israel and the strike in Doha for somehow killing any opportunity for peace. In my view, it was Hamas saying, we will never, ever lay down our arms. That's impossible for us to do. And in the aftermath of that, it was quite clear there could never be a peace deal. If your enemy says, we're going to continue to attack you, that by definition, that's not a peace deal. What's your view on this, and why would Secretary Rubio do that?
Well, I cannot speak for Secretary Rubio, who is a great friend of Israel. Could be that there are some other considerations vis-a-vis Qatar, where there are major U.S. military bases. Qatar was always useful for negotiating between the United States and the Taliban and others. So maybe this had something to do with it. But then after this, he came over to Israel. Last week he was here. He went to the Wailing Wall and he prayed there. And I think that he realizes that maybe he misspoke. In any case, he supports us very strongly. President Trump does. And there was no one who said it better than the President Trump in the UN when he said that this is a prize for terrorism, a prize for Hamas, the recognition of a Palestinian state.
And he's absolutely right. It is a reward for terrorism. What do you think about the, at least rough outlines? We don't have any of the details, but President Trump had a sit down with various leaders in the Middle East, Erdogan notably in Turkey, and talking about a lasting peace deal for Gaza that would not include Israel, that once Israel had secured the area, Israel would then withdraw, and there would be a coalition of Arab nations coming in to govern. Do you think that's a real possibility, and is it realistically achievable?
Well, I think it's a possibility from the Israeli point of view. I think that Prime Minister Netanyahu has already mentioned in the past that once we have our hostages back, once Hamas is down and no longer capable or legitimately govern Gaza, Israel will withdraw from Gaza, and we want to make sure that there will be no threat from Gaza anymore. So if there will be some kind of an Arab peacekeeping force, not Qataris, not Turkeys, which are sympathizers to the Islamic Brotherhood, which Hamas is part of, but countries like Saudi Arabia or Egypt or the Emirates, if they come in and coordinate with Israel, with the United States, I think this can fly. However, the toughest nut, again, is the Hamas. The Hamas does not want to release the hostages because right now they feel the hostages is their only safety or their only guarantee from being taken out. So it will be very interesting to see whether Hamas will agree. I believe that if there is a consolidated effort by allies of Hamas, like Qatar and Turkey, that Hamas would not be able to build all those tunnels without the money from Qatar. Qatar can still withhold a lot of support to Hamas. The leaders of Hamas are staying in 5-star hotels in Qatar, in Doha, so they can be threatened. They can be really persuaded to give the hostages, and then I think things can be much simpler. So I think the key, Gordon, will be whether the President of the United States, Trump, can bring together the Qataris, the Egyptians, and even the Turks to put a massive pressure on Hamas. This would be the key.
Oh, I appreciate your insight. Ambassador, thank you so much for being with us. We'll continue to pray for the peace of Jerusalem and the peace of Israel and the peace of the Middle East. These have been very trying times for Israel, and be assured we stand with you in it, and we recognize what you're up against. The world's enemy needs to be recognized. It's Hamas, and every effort should be made to completely dismantle it and eliminate that threat from the world stage. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Gordon, and God bless.
Thank you very much. Well, 105 years ago, world leaders met in the Italian city of San Remo. What they decided there determined the future and fate of the Middle East. Well, as Chris Mitchell reports from the seaside town, it's also where the legal foundation for the modern state of Israel was established.
I'm here in San Remo, Italy, at the very spot where world leaders redrew the map of the Middle East. It hosted the San Remo Conference of 1920, a little-known meeting that shaped the destiny of nations in the modern Middle East. While the guns of World War I had fallen silent, battles over borders and sovereignty were only beginning. The 400-year-old Ottoman Empire, called the sick man of Europe, was crumbling. The Allied powers of France, the United Kingdom, Italy, and Japan, with the United States as an observer, now face the issue of dividing the vast territories of Iraq, Syria, and the land called Palestine. San Remo served as the stage for those decisions to be made.
This is during the course of 1 week, and especially then the last day of that week, they were looking into what would happen with what was then called Palestine.
Thomas Sandel, founder of the European Coalition for Israel, tells CBN News that in April 1920, the fate of the Jewish nation weighed in the balance.
It was a bit of a wrestling match with the British, with the French, as to would the Balfour Declaration get acceptance by the international community, be incorporated into international law.
The British prevailed, and the Balfour Declaration, nearly word for word, would become part of the San Remo Resolution. The 1917 document stated, His Majesty's government views with favor the establishment of a Jewish state in the land called Palestine.
The people that had a clear connection to the land of Israel were recognized under international law. The Balfour Declaration, which said that the Jewish people should have a national home in Eretz Israel.
After nearly 2,000 years, the Jewish people had a homeland recognized under international law. One English diplomat, Lord Curzon, called the resolution Israel's Magna Carta. Zionist leader Chaim Weizmann considered it so important, he declared the modern state of Israel was born on the 25th of April, 1920, in San Remo.
I always say that this was like this one moment in world history when heaven and earth were completely aligned, because the key players at that time, and there'd never been a situation like that before or after, where you had people who really had a deep love for the Jewish people, who were biblical, very literate, at the place of power. David Lloyd George said that the most important thing he accomplished was really what he did in San Remo, to pave the way for the recreation, the rebirth of a Jewish state. He and Lord Balfour, they were adamant that we cannot miss this opportunity.
2 years later, the 51 members of the League of Nations ratified the San Remo resolution. It gave the Jews exclusive legal and political rights in Palestine, while the rest of the Middle East went to the Arabs.
The international legal foundation for the Middle East was laid here, and it was never changed. And so unless it's specifically totally changed and overturned by the United Nations, which it has not been, they actually did recognize the modern nation state of Israel, then it means Israel has a legal right to be there and to be a Jewish homeland.
Rick Ridings, founder of the prayer ministry Sukkot Hallel, says more Christian leaders need to know the story.
Of course, they have the right biblically to be in their homeland that God promised to them. But in the political realm, you need to come back to the legal bases. That's why it's important that Christians, leaders who understand God's heart and purposes for Israel, become aware of these legal, international legal issues.
After October 7, 2023, a global chorus accused Israel of being illegitimate. Sandel believes that's why the story of San Remo is more important than ever, when Israel's adversaries raise questions about its right to exist by rewriting history.
Because it comes back to the narrative that we hear on our elite universities of the Jewish state just being expression of colonialism, where the opposite is true. And I think it's not a difficult story to tell. You have all the historical verification to explain that. And we need to become better at retelling the miracle of Israel.
A story forgotten, but a story that needs to be told again and again. It's why Sandel believes the Villa de Vachon should become a destination for leaders and policymakers.
So this is a place that is so significant for Jewish history. Most people, Christians, Jews, and others, they don't know it. And I think this is a beautiful story to be retold, the city where history was rewritten. And I think, looking at the future, I would like to see similar meetings taking place here.
The San Remo resolution was a turning point in history, a legal foundation for the rebirth of Israel after nearly 2,000 years. It wasn't just politics in action, but prophecy unfolding. And it's the desire of many that this truth would resonate around the world. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, San Remo, Italy.
Well, that's just one of the wonderful stories about how the modern state of Israel came to be. If you want to know the facts about the Jewish homeland, our documentary, The Hope, tells that incredible story. The film takes you on a journey through the years that preceded the founding of the modern state of Israel. You'll see history unfold through the eyes of some of the greatest visionaries, such as David Ben-Gurion, Golda Meir. CBN partners will get instant streaming access to this through the CBN Family app. So become a partner with CBN Israel by going to cbn.com/supportisrael, or you can call us at 1-800, there's a special number, 1-800-350-2230. And with your donation, your pledge, you'll get instant access to this wonderful documentary. Get informed so that you can be standing up for Israel and doing so with the full knowledge of how it came to be. Amira is a Christian mother, and she lives in the West Bank. She worked 3 jobs around the clock. When she had time to sleep, it was on a mattress on a floor. She felt completely alone until she met a team from CBN Israel.
Amira, a Palestinian Christian, is a divorced single mom who lives with her son Ramsey, just outside Bethlehem. The struggling Palestinian economy makes finding work hard enough, but being a single mom makes it an even bigger challenge.
In Palestine, we don't have a law that protects single moms or like social security that I can go and get some like assistance from. So the moment I became a single mom, I had to find my way.
Amira worked 2 to 3 jobs just to make ends meet.
It was like 24/7 I don't have a Sunday, I don't have a Monday, I don't have a Saturday. And then to take care of my son, to cook for him, to do his homework, to take care of him, to give him some time, to go out with him.
To make things worse, Ramsey suffered from a debilitating eye condition, causing him headaches. He had trouble reading and struggled with low self-esteem and experienced bullying at school.
My son has squint eyes. He has like problems in his eyes. He needed an urgent surgery. So I took him to the hospital and we put the date for the operation.
CBN Israel was able to sponsor Ramsey's life-changing eye surgery. And upon a follow-up visit, the CBN team discovered that Amira was sleeping on a mattress on the floor and they lacked basic furniture and appliances. CBN Israel jumped into action.
When they saw my situation, they helped me more and they provided lots of help, like food. I had some stuff in my house missing, like a bedroom, and they offered me, they bought me a bedroom, they bought me an oven, and I'm so grateful and thankful. They helped me so much, and until now, I found a job finally.
These gifts helped Amira get back on her feet and restored her hope. Ramsey's eye surgery was also a great success, and his confidence soared as a result.
His eyes are amazing. So yeah, I'm like very thankful that I decided to do this operation, and I'm thankful for CBN for helping me to do that for sure.
Well, there's a thank you from the West Bank to your home, because you cared enough to give. You cared enough to say, yes, I want to be a part of blessing people in Israel. If you're not a member of CBN Israel, it's real simple. Call us, 1-800-350-2230, and say, I want to join. How much is it? Well, it's $25 a month. And you joining with tens of thousands of people that say, yes, let's be a blessing to Israel. And whether you're Muslim or Christian or Jewish or none of the above, that doesn't matter to us. If you're a person, if you're a human being in need in Israel, we want to help you, and we want to be a part of being a blessing to you. So if that's you, if you want to join with us, call us, 1-800-350-2230, or you can go to the website, cbn.com/support Israel, or you can text to us. You can text Support Israel to 71777. And you support everything we're doing, whether it's the documentaries, the news stories, or the very tangible help for people in their time of need. The number of evacuees who are now returning to the Gaza envelope, to northern Israel, they need our support. We have a whole trauma team. We're training first responders in how to respond to trauma when they observe that in people, what to do, what are the techniques. There's an ongoing rebuilding of Israel in the wake of this war. And another thing, if you're already a CBN Israel supporter, you've received a special packet in the mail, there's a card to fill out. We'll pray for you, and we'll put your card into the Western Wall. Even if you're not a donor, you can be part of this. All you have to do is call us, that same number, and say, I want to have my prayer requests included. Or you can go to cbnisrael.org/prayer request. Write it down. We want to pray for you in Jerusalem. Here's a word from Psalms. Blessed are they who observe justice, who do righteousness at all times.